What up? And welcome to Asking for a Friend. This is a podcast engaging questions by young adults wondering how to live life as followers of Christ. My name is Nathan, and I'm with my wife, Rebecca.
Hi.
Almost feels like a date.
It does kind of. I love it. We are reading your questions and answering them the best that we can, even in our own imperfections, in a way that we hope honors the Lord, but also encourages you to live a life that honors God.
Yeah.
You ready for a question?
Rock and roll.
Okay.
You want to read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should you offer constructive criticism on a failed first date? We can't even ask it without. What is making you laugh about that question?
Well, it's wrong. What's making me laugh? Okay. Like, I think I'm trying to picture what type of a person would ask this question. Because to me, like initially, this question feels like, what? Who do you think you are? Thinking like you can like I don't know. It just comes across like a very like controlling personality or type A. Like they need to know.
My goal in life is to make sure that everyone else is a better person.
Yeah. So go. You want to answer it first, and then I'll answer what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So my just initial thought is, constructive criticism is hard to receive, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so having that come from someone who I've just gone on a first date with, who then doesn't want to go on another date with me.
Right.
I think I would want to like slap them in the face, honestly. I would not.
Like if we went on a date and it didn't go well.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, hey, can I tell you why you're not a good person to date?
Yeah.
And I don't want to go on another date, but this might help you for the future.
Yeah. I'm like picturing them like standing at the door, like, hey, I'm going to walk you to the door. Like, just so you know, this is over.
Yeah.
I see nothing between us.
Sure.
But can I give you some advice on why this was terrible?
Yeah.
And why we're not going to. And I know we're being.
Like you're a dating coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm thinking that is not something that I would receive. However, there have been some times in my life where I've only gone on one first date at the choice of the other person. And I've wondered, what was it? And so maybe it could bring closure to someone.
Yeah.
A little bit of peace, but I think I'd rather take the other route of just like the rejection eventually fades, right? Maybe a couple mornings you wake up and you're like, why did that hurt? But eventually a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, you're over it.
Right.
Hopefully with healthy processing, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
So I agree with you. I think my first answer, we probably shouldn't laugh at this question, should we? We're not trying to make light of the question. No. I think it's a good question. No, yeah. I'm just trying to like frame, like, what's its context? Where's it coming from?
I mean, in the years that we have been humans and in dating seasons of life and had friends in dating seasons of life, I mean, we've heard of some just
my goodness,
terrible first dates.
Horrific, like laughable first dates.
Unbelievable first dates. And so in that regard, I kind of feel like a couple of those, they were mostly men.
Right.
Could have used a little constructive criticism.
Right.
But it's not necessarily.
But the horrible were like quirks, right? Yeah. Like they were like some of them were just like, oh, that guy was just like a little interesting. That guy was a little unique, right? Yeah. Some of the things that I'm thinking of.
Your little tidbit at the end of a date is not going to turn someone's whole life around, their whole personality around, right?
Right.
Okay.
So generally speaking, and more specific in the dating realm, should you offer constructive criticism on a first date? My answer would be no, unless asked.
Yep.
Like if someone said, hey, that's fine, we don't have to go on another date, but can I ask why?
Yep.
Can I ask what's going on? And some of that constructive criticism could just be like differences or some unique things about them that just really kind of turned you off, or it could not be related to them at all. It could be something you realized about yourself in the date and you're like, I'm just not ready to date, whatever it is. However, in thinking about this, I was trying to think of like where, if not permitted to speak, where and when is there a good time where you should say something?
Okay.
And I was thinking about this more in protection of like women, like my nieces or my cousins or even my daughter. Whereas, and I'm going to pick on guys for a second, where like you might go on a date with someone. I'm going to pick on the guys, but I'm talking to the women. And you can tell me if I'm off on this. Like you might go on a date with someone and this guy is completely like offensive.
Yeah.
Very degrading of you as a person, devaluing, maybe not honoring boundaries, physical boundaries, like, and they're very like so much sexual innuendo, all this stuff in this first date, then I would encourage you, like, I'd probably encourage you to say something. Yeah. I'd probably encourage you to say, like, this is not right. And this is why we're not going on a date. Yeah. So would you agree? Is that fair? Is that fair?
Absolutely. To me, that's a completely like rare. I mean, it's not rare, but that's
unfortunately not.
Yeah, that's a unique situation where completely warranted, as long as you're safe. I mean, on the one hand, I'm like, get out of there as fast as you can.
I'm thinking like a phone call or like if they text you or something. But
thank you. And here's why.
Yeah.
And then encourage any one of your friends to stay away from that person. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
So what if we do some quick do's and don'ts, like first date do's and don'ts? Let's do don'ts first.
Okay. Don'ts. My first don't is a date I went on where it was like 17 dates.
This was not me, by the way, right?
No.
Okay.
17 dates in one. Like there was nothing left to do in the town that I lived in because we did it all.
On one date.
In the first date. And so I would say just like chill out a little bit and don't do it all in the first date. I
would say don't overthink it. Yeah. Like it's a first date. Yeah. It's not an engagement. Right. Like just go on the date and enjoy it. And like even for me, you know, I'm a thinker. I'm an overthinker.
Yeah.
And I remember the first date with you. I found myself like thinking about the conversation. And then maybe I asked this question. And then I caught myself. I felt like almost the Holy Spirit was like, dude, chill out, bro.
Yeah.
Just go and hang out with her.
Yeah.
Like if there's a lull, let it be.
Yeah, for sure.
So don't overthink it. It's just a date.
Don't talk about your last or ex-boyfriend or girlfriend on a first date. I think that could really kill the mood, and it's not necessarily. I mean, there's always exceptions to everything that we're talking about, but we're just talking in complete like generals here,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, that may come up like, hey, what was your last relationship like? Or have you been in a relationship
like? And we know people that have, had, families already and lost spouses and then dated again. And it's like, we just got to get it all out here on the first date.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Great.
Don't introduce them to the whole family on the first date. That's a lot of pressure.
That is one of the 17 things I did in the date. I was
met the whole family
at the beginning.
Did you go to a reunion, a family reunion?
No, but I legit met most of their family. Immediate family. Yeah.
Yeah, make it easy. Don't don't scare the person off right away.
Right. Yeah, I think just relax. And even if you're not relaxed, fake it, right? Our stress can make us say things, do things, act on things that are a little intense and a little off-putting. And so, I mean, I find that even in new circumstances, I have to just take a deep breath and relax a little, force myself to ask the Lord to help me. Like, okay, chill out. Don't over talk in nervousness or under talk in nervousness, don't talk about that awkward thing that you did as a funny icebreaker because it's probably weird. Right.
Yeah. Don't talk about yourself like unasked or unprovoked. Yeah. Like don't spend the whole time talking about yourself unless they ask you questions. Right.
Yeah. That could go in the do's then. We could switch to that. Ask questions.
Ask great questions.
Yeah. And you can think ahead of some of those things if you're nervous.
Contribute to the conversation. Yes. Don't assume they're going to drive the conversation.
Right. Absolutely.
Do be on time.
Yes.
To either of you.
Yeah.
Do be on time.
Yeah.
Fellas, do take a shower. Get prepared. Make sure you smell good. Make sure you look good. Yeah. If the guys are the one leading, do make a plan. Do have a plan for the date. Don't just show up and like, I don't know, what do you want to do? Do plan to pay, guys. Yeah. I know we are living in different times, but I still think you should be a gentleman and plan to pay. And do be prepared to have the money to pay the bill. Remember that Valentine's date we went on? This is, again, another podcast maybe.
I mean, this is just a different lifetime, right?
Yeah, to a degree, yeah.
But yeah, you didn't have enough money for this set menu that you weren't prepared for.
I was not prepared.
It was a set Valentine's menu that was in the hundreds.
Yes.
And for each of us.
Makes me sick, yeah.
And how did you end up paying for it?
I was doing quick math in my head, and I had just enough money to pay the bill and get us back like gas money to get us back. I like freaked out as soon as I saw the top of the menu and the price. And I was like, oh, I had just deposited a check like 2 days before.
Okay. And I was none the wiser. I didn't know at all.
I think I told you years later. I might have told you after we were married.
So that was a good, I don't know. You handled it well is what I'm saying.
Thank you.
Good. I mean, I definitely looked at the menu and I was like, oh, snap.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. She thought I was full of money. That should come out in the other money conversation we talk about. I say do get the door still to the fellas. Have some respect.
Yeah.
Get the door.
And just make it count. Make the date count. We believe that dating can be really good.
Yeah.
And help you in so many aspects of life, but it's not wasted. And so, especially if you make it count and you walk away going, I did my best. Yeah. I was respectful.
Yeah.
Now it's in the Lord's hands.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully some of this is helpful. It is a good question. Forgive me, I guess, if I was laughing or thinking this question is silly. It is a good question. There can be a time and place to give constructive criticism, but hopefully some of this has helped you guys and maybe caused you to think about things that you hadn't thought of before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of Asking for a Friend. We love the opportunity to dive deeper into these topics. And if you have any more questions on relationship or love or marriage or whatever it might be, we would love for you to send it in. So how do they do that?
Yeah, you could do that by DMing us at LCCHaven. You could email us, haven@lccredding.org, or you could text it in, area code 530-338-1237. And if you're new to Haven, the young adult ministry, this is a young adult ministry of Little Country Church in Redding, California. And it's our desire and aim to rally young adults to the Word of God, mission of Jesus, and to be filled and led by His Spirit. And then to release wherever God has sent us that we might be able to rally others to the very same thing.